Hi, I'm Chaplain Byron Denman, and this is Chats with the Chaplain. I feel like most of you at some point in your lives have probably heard the expression, it's a marathon and not a sprint. We all know pretty much what that means, right? There's this idea that anybody, regardless of physical conditioning or training, can go out and sprint for some amount of time. Maybe your sprint exhausts itself at 15 meters. Maybe you can do a 100-meter sprint or whatever it is. But the idea is anyone can push themselves really hard for a short period. A marathon is something altogether different. Looking at all of those miles stretched out in front of you, if you started sprinting right away, there's no way you could continue that pace. And there's a pretty good chance that you would burn yourself out. I used to watch a show called How I Met Your Mother. Maybe you've seen it. But in one of the episodes, the character that goes by the name Barney, he decides that he's going to push himself and run a marathon. And he gets out there and he does it. And he's bragging to his friends about how he didn't have to train for it or anything else. And then, spoiler alert, at the end of the episode, after running the marathon, he can't get off the subway because his legs are just too dead. You see, he wasn't actually ready to run a marathon. Yeah, he got it done. Sheer willpower, I guess. But he hadn't trained, he hadn't prepared. And the marathon took its toll on him. On the other hand, if he had just gone out and run a sprint, he would have been just fine in no time. I think many of us thought that this coronavirus thing was going to be more like a sprint. And as we reached the end of our first couple of months of teleworking or whatever we were doing, we felt like it was finally behind us. We felt like we had run the race and we had finished, and now we could start going back to life as normal. And state governments tended to agree with us to some extent. We got tattoo parlors back and restaurants back, barbershops back, and we were able to start living a normal life with a mask sometimes. But many of us use that opportunity to start pushing the mask aside or just wearing it to where it covers up our chin because that's its intent, right? And we started socializing differently. We started feeling like the risk was behind us. Unfortunately, what we've seen over the last week or so is that this was not a sprint, and this is more and more like a marathon every day. With all of the new cases that have erupted and numerous states actually exceeding their single-day positive cases, we've seen that we have to be persistent. We have to keep protecting ourselves, and we have to keep protecting those that we love by wearing our masks, by social distancing, and by trying to protect each other. We can make it through this marathon. I wish that I had an idea when it was over, because much like most of you, I'm tired of this. But until it is over, I'll do everything I can to look out for you. And I'm going to ask that you do everything you can to look out for me. I'm Chaplain Byron Denman, and make sure you stretch before you run, because we'll probably be running for a while.